YouTube, man, what's going on with y'all today? I hope y'all all doing good. I'm currently working from home right now, but thought I wanted to just make a video real quick and kind of just give y'all my updates as to me and how I'm feeling and how life's been. Like, I think that as of right now, you know, I'm learning a lot of shit, especially when it comes to real estate shit. And obviously, I've been in this space for the last, what, 5 years? Yeah, 5 years. So I'm in the multifamily development space. So a lot of the stuff that I deal with is from a modeling standpoint. So just underwriting and dealing with feasibility to make sure the deals can pencil out. And I'm starting to realize that there are a lot of nuances that go on that I thought I knew, but I didn't. And for me, it's been a drastic learning curve, and I understand, or now I have a better understanding on how these developers go through these trials and tribulations when it comes to affordable housing. And with me understanding that and me knowing how these developers think and how their mindset is from project to project and how it varies, I'm able to learn and have a better understanding of what works and what doesn't. And with me understanding that, I can translate those factors, skill sets, and attributes into other deals and help out other clients. I think with what I'm doing today is going to better suit me for the future, foreseeable future at that. And I think that when it comes to you having a vision for yourself and you have high goals and you're very ambitious, like, you always have to keep your eye on the ball. You always have to constantly remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing, because there's going to be times where it's like, bro, why the fuck did I choose to do this? Why the fuck is it so challenging? Why the fuck is it X, Y, and Z? You just have to understand it's just a part of the process. Just understand that you're growing. What I literally did was I would literally tell myself if there was any face of adversity that I had to endure, all I would literally tell myself is imagine the person you will be once you overcome this. And then at that point, it just became like a video game. Just like when you playing on 2K and you got that my player and you got to get the little attributes and you got to make your player better. Well, it starts with either A, you can just cheat and just buy a bunch of VC and just do it that way, or but the real life way, you can't really do that. I mean, you can to a certain degree, but it's only gonna get you so far. But what I'm saying in reference to that is that when it comes to your attributes, you got to go to the practice facility and get those jump shots in. You got to go to the Gatorade facility and you got to lift them weights. You have to play the My Career games to upgrade your badges so you get that experience and you have that amount of reps to get you to bronze, silver, gold, or Hall of Fame badges. Life works the same way. And once you look at it from that perspective and that lens, you start to really understand that all of this is just a part of the process, and just enjoy the process, because the person you become on the other side of the shit that you have to endure, you're going to be thankful that you were able to endure those struggles and endure that pain and endure those growing pains, because at the end of the day, regret weighs tons. And in this process, you always have to have faith in the forefront of your mind. Like, you can't have any doubt. And yes, you may have your doubts, but you have to neglect those thoughts, because if you give those thoughts any kind of power, you'll just stop and you lose all your momentum. I guarantee it 100%. And and honestly, there's been points in time where it's been like, why am I doing this shit? But I always knew at the end of the day what my why was, and honestly, I knew what I was doing it for. I knew I had purpose. I knew what my intentions were with what I'm doing, and I know the kind of work that I do is very impactful. And for you guys that are listening to this, like, you just have to figure out what you want to do and commit to it. Don't start one thing and then start another thing and then start another thing because it didn't work and you were only in it for 3 months. Like I said, I've been in this shit for the last 5 years and I'm still learning to this day. Whatever you so choose to do, figure out what you want to do and endure the growth pains in order for you to become the person that you need to become to achieve that goal, bro. It's all this shit really comes down to. A lot of this shit does come down to personal development, and it really just comes down to figuring out what skills you need to learn in order for you to become that person that can make X amount of money. That's all this shit is. There's literally an easy equation for this. Goals plus the person you want to become. Well, really, it's the person you need to become plus the goals equals success. And when you have that formula in your mind, it gives you a sense of purpose because you wake up with intentionality. You know the things that you need to do, and you have to get up and do them. Obviously, it's going to be challenging because probably right now the person you are, you procrastinate, you don't work out, you don't feed your mind quality things, whether you don't read or you don't figure out different subjects to stimulate your mind that are going to get you to where you need to be. And you just have to kill the current version of yourself. How do you do that? Well, what I did was I just literally visualized the current version of me and the highest version of me in my head. And the highest version had a gun in his hand and he shot the old version of himself. And I was like, from here on out, I'm doing everything that is in alignment with the best version of me. And I reverse engineered everything. How would he walk? How would he talk? How would he act? How would he think? Who would his friends be? What kind of environments is he in? How does he conduct himself? What does he want to be remembered for? What kind of legacy does he want to have? How does he build people? How is his character? Does he have morality? Does he have integrity? And I just literally reverse engineer everything. And I literally wrote this shit down, the ideal version of me. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. I literally read that shit every day. So I was holding myself accountable. And in my daily actions, I had made sure I was taking actions on those commitments on who I wanted to become. And basically, you kind of have to visualize it as if you're playing a role in a movie, right? You're just playing the character that you want to be. So the more times you repetitively play that character, the more natural it'll become. You see actors all the time. They have their personality when they're off camera and when they're on camera. So basically, I say this to say is that your on-camera personality needs to be that ideal version of you. And your current version of you is the one that's off camera. Because when you're off camera, you're not in character, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is you're not presenting yourself in the highest regard. You're not doing X, Y, and Z. But with actors, they have to put their best foot forward on the scenes because no one's gonna watch a movie that's not entertaining to watch. So if you want to be captivating, you have to figure out who you need to become and start working on those skills now. One of the things that I struggled with when I was coming up was communicating. So what I would do is when I was in my college dorm and shit, I would just have small talk with clerks, people at the store, people at shoe stores, and just in my everyday life, people at the gym, people in elevators when I was in my dorm. So a lot of the time I would be like, hey, how was your weekend? X, Y, and Z, da 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 da. And that kind of just broke me out of the rhythm of me not talking to people because your mind is only used to what it does on a daily basis. So if you're used to not talking to people, it's going to be hard for you to make that shift to start talking to people because it's unfamiliar to the mind. But once you have so many reps, it becomes natural. And once you get over that hump, imagine what you could do with your goals if you overcame X, Y, and Z. Who will you become on the other side of what you need to do on a daily basis in terms of what you need to do in terms of you working on you? Just think about it. This shit is not rocket science. And I think that some people overcomplicate these situations in different circumstances, but in all reality, it's not that hard. And I say that because for me, it's not that hard because I enjoy the process. But for some of you guys that are watching, it may be a little hard for you in the beginning. And I know it was hard for me in the beginning, but I just endured the growing pains and I knew who I was going to become on the outcomes of those trials and tribulations and building those skills up so that not only would I make more money, but I'd feel a lot better about myself and I just have unshakable confidence and belief in myself to go out and venture off and do other things that I so choose. And there's a cliche saying that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And some people don't believe it, but I definitely do believe it. And that's just because it's the intent. What is your intentions? If you have high intention with everything you do, that means you're not wasting time doing things that aren't intentional towards either who you want to become or your goals. So if you're going to the club every weekend, that's not really conducive to your goals. I'm not saying you can't have fun, but there's going to have to be a level of sacrifice to get you to where you want to go. And if you're not willing to cut out that sacrifice, then you're going to have to live with that 10, 20 years down the road where you're like, damn, I had the opportunity to do X, Y, and Z. And you look back and you're like, damn, I should have just did it while I had the time to. And now you're 30, 40 years old and you're thinking like, oh, damn, I wish, living in the past where, I mean, you still have time. It's going to be a little bit harder because you probably have kids, you probably got a mortgage, you probably got a car payment, you probably have a job where you really don't have the flexibility or means to be able to have that entrepreneurial spirit or have a side hustle where you're able to make additional income to get out of the 9 to 5. Now, for those of you that do like your 9 to 5, I'm not saying to leave your 9 to 5. I'm just saying that if you do have aspirations doing other things outside your corporate, then you're going to have to figure out a way to find those skills, whether it's reading, YouTube videos, going to different networking events, you name it, to get yourself in those environments to understand how the business really works. I'm telling you, man, you got this shit, bro. You got this. Only person that can hold you accountable is you. Is fucking you. You have to be your daily motivator. You have to be your daily inspiration. You got to be your daily dose of belief in yourself. You got to be your daily dose of confidence. You have to do this shit every day. Yes, it can be challenging. Yes, it can get boring. But you have to understand what you're doing it for. And that's the video for today. Make sure y'all like, comment, and follow for more. And let me know down in the description what other video topics I should talk about. I really do appreciate you guys for listening and tuning into my videos. And you guys are the reason why I continue to do what I do, but also continue to grow. And I generally hold myself to high standards and to a higher degree, and I know I'll deliver on that. So enjoy the rest of y'all day, man. And if you are enduring some stuff right now, just know the storm is always going to be inevitable. It's just not going to last forever. And once you're able to endure those pains and these little things that you go through your day life, whether it's large or small, you'll be able to weather the storm at any given moment. I'll see y'all in the next one.